You know, for President Obama to be such a well-spoken person who shows such thoughtfulness in the words he utters, sometimes he can tend to piss people off. Now, yesterday, he was at the inauguration of the African American Museum in Washington. And he took time out to speak about the situation in Tulsa and Charlotte specifically. Now, I'm going to play the portion of, you can call it a speech. Then I'm going to give you a famous quote. And then I'm going to make a comment. Here we go.
The reason that I'm so happy the museum is opening this weekend is because it allows all of us as Americans to put our current circumstances in a historical context.
Yes, yes.
My hope is that as people are seeing what's happened in Tulsa or Charlotte on television, and perhaps are less familiar with not only the history of the African American experience, but also how recent some of these challenges have been, upon visiting the museum, may step back and say, I understand.
Yeah.
I sympathize. I empathize. I can see why folks might feel angry, and I want to be part of the solution, as opposed to resisting change. My hope is that black folks watching those same images on television and then seeing the history represented in this museum can say to themselves, the struggles we're going through today are connected to the past, and yet all that progress we've made tells me that I cannot and will not sink into despair. Because if we join hands, and if we do things right, if we maintain our dignity, and we continue to appeal to the better angels of this nation, progress will be made.
All right. Now, here's the quote that I want to give you. And it's going to be, in some people's eyes, a bit controversial. The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. It is its natural manure. This was a quote from Thomas Jefferson, and he was talking about liberty. Now, black people have been in a struggle for the past 400 plus years. And we have shed a lot of blood. I will note that anytime there is a major change, that change has never come simply through the use of conversation. I refer you back to the Revolutionary War, the war for American liberty. There were a lot of words that went back and forth, but the reason that America was freed from English rule was because of the shedding of blood. Okay? The Civil War. There was a lot of talking going back and forth, but slavery was ended again through the shedding of blood. Okay, those are wars. The 1964 Civil Rights Acts, 64, 65, 68. Those acts came into fruition because of the shedding of black blood throughout the South. And honestly, there were some instances where there were situations in the North, but primarily in the South, but there was shedding of blood. We have really not been legally free, the majority of us, until or since 1970, to be honest with you. So we've been free basically 50 years. Now, racism has been given license by Mr. Donald Trump with his embrace of white supremacy. And I'm dead serious about that because his head of his campaign is a white supremacist, Steve Bannon. The white supremacists are coming out of the woodworks and embracing him and Mike Pence and stating, you know, how they are the right people for the job and how their agendas align. Mr. Trump has a problem with his memory in that he didn't initially claim to know anything about David Duke. His son does an excellent job, you know, because he's learned from his father with his mimes with Pepe the Frog and various other members of the white supremacist movement. So I say that to say that blood is being shed. And of course we want to stop bloodshed, but black blood is being shed. Why? Because we're not seeking equality. We're seeking liberty. We're seeking the right to form our own destinies without the thumb of the majority on the scale. So President Obama, you have to remember history and look at the history of things and look at the history of great change. And that history is replete with blood. And in our case, a lot of black blood in order to get to the position that we're in now. So unfortunately, it looks like it's going to take a lot more black blood for things to get better. In my heart, I hope not, but history is a harsh taskmaster. And if you don't learn your lesson, it will beat that lesson into you.